Tech Sideline is presented by First Bank and Trust Company, the bank that puts you first. They can meet your banking and financing needs for personal, agricultural, business, commercial, mortgages, and so much more. Visit firstbank.com to learn more.
What's up, Hokie Nation, and welcome into episode 415 of the Tech Sideline podcast. Today, we have a very special guest on set. As one of the best single-season quarterbacks in Virginia Tech football history, Jerod Evans is here at Tech Sideline. Jerod Evans coming up on episode 415 of the Tech Sideline podcast, which starts right now. We're recording on Wednesday. Yes, Wednesday, March 26, 2025 from our high-tech studio in the Virginia Tech Corporate Research Center. Remember to like, subscribe, and refer the show to a friend. I'm your host, Carter Hill, in the fourth chair today because we have a little bit of a mix-up on set. In the typical host chair is our honorary guest, Mr. Jerod Evans, one of the best single-season quarterbacks in Virginia Tech football history. And his typical perch is our lead analyst and columnist, Chris Coleman. To my left is Will Stewart, our founder and general manager. And then behind the scenes, as always, is our director of media, Mr. Nick Brown. Jerod, first off, thank you so much for hopping in. This is such a treat to be with you here on this Wednesday morning.
It's great to be here. Seriously, thank you guys for actually, I guess, being diligently asking for me to come on, and I finally had the opportunity to do so. So I'm glad to be here with you guys.
What are you doing back in town for the week? I know you were taking pictures with Coach Pry at practice over the weekend. What are you doing back in Blacksburg? I'm actually back to finish my degree in sociology. So that's kind of why I'm back. And so while I am back, I decided I want to kind of show my face. Plus, Coach Pry is very inviting, so it makes it a little bit more warming to actually come back and be around the team and be around the program.
Did you always assume you would come back and get your degree at some point? Was that always part of the plan?
It was definitely part of the plan, especially right after getting undrafted and going to Green Bay. My mom was a stickler for that. My mom and dad actually, but more my mom, both finance graduates. So she said, whatever you do will make your mom happy is to actually finish a degree. And so that's always in the back of my mind, but just things and circumstances, happen where that wasn't allowed to happen at the moment after declaring.
So let's jump right into the heavy stuff, because right after you declared, there's the typical backlash on social media, not from all fans, but from some. And that was, man, that's about 8 years ago. How has the response been now that you're back on campus on a regular basis? It's really a two-pronged question. How many people recognize you? Because it's been a while. Exactly. And those that do recognize you and talk to you, how's the reception been?
The reception's been wonderful, just as if I was playing. I think it's just something special about Blacksburg in general. Just the heartwarming people, especially when they know you or have a clue who you are. And then the people that don't recognize me, I know it's been 8 years, plus I got longer hair now, look totally different. So just them approaching me in general, once they find out who I am, it's just been heartwarming to see me back on campus and see me around the program.
Yeah, I think time has kind of put a nice viewpoint on that 2016 season and your portion of it now that some time has passed. Chris, what you got next?
During the recruitment process, you were one of the top JUCO quarterbacks. Virginia Tech, who else was involved with you besides the Hokies, and what eventually convinced you to come to Blacksburg?
I got a lot. I mean, a lot of teams, at least 20-plus teams. The status has been the number one dual threat in the nation at the time. That just brings a lot of, one school, then every school wants a piece of it. So my first offer was from Cali, I believe, and then it's just Auburn, Oregon, UCF, Arizona State. It's a long list. Texas was a big one. But that was the recruiting process. It was pretty smooth the second time around versus the first.
Right.
How did Virginia Tech separate themselves and get you to come here out of JUCO? Like, you were playing in Texas, is that right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
So how did they? I'm sure there were a lot of schools on you. How did they separate themselves and get your interest and get you to come here?
Well, first, I wasn't going to even take the offer or like the official visit. But then my offense coordinator from my junior college, who I love dearly and who taught me the game proper, like in a strong way to understand how to watch them, etc. He kind of told me, do not take the visit. Take it, see what it presents, and what it presented was just a home away from home. You know, heartwarming. They loved football. They knew it. Passionate about it. Supported it. You know, and most importantly, the team. Isaiah and Cam Phillips was my chaperones, and they showed me a good time, and they had the same type of goals that I wanted to reach from coming here, which was the NFL. So kind of those mixes kind of gave the edge to Virginia Tech.
Yeah, I read some comments you made in an article about 3 or 4 years ago about how you were here and people recognized you and called you by name, and that impressed you.
That was very impressive. So they know they football, passionate about who comes here. So that just was a eye-opening thing, like not trying to be recognized, just walking around and boom. Yeah. So that was pretty eye-opening.
Where'd you get that production over hype hoodie?
Justin Roberts.
Yep,
Yeah,
that's exactly what I was going to ask.
Yeah.
He used to sell those. I was wondering if you got that from him or somewhere else.
So he did it. Yeah, he hit me up, asked me, look into it. Obviously, we know each other. Went to support a friend, and I like the actual thing that it represents, which is production over hype. I believe it's a lot of hype in not just football, but in general. And then the production will show more than the actual hype around that individual or that.
So to be clear, for those who are listening and not watching, he's got a black hoodie on that says production is greater than hype. And so it's a little mathematical equation.
Yes.
Chris, you want to jump into 2016 questions? I got a bunch of questions.
Yeah, 2016 was a pretty special season for Virginia Tech. A lot of great moments that year. If you could pick one of those moments, just one game, any moment that you could bottle up and like relive, what would you pick?
One?
Yeah, one. You can give me one and then a backup option if you want to.
Or you could just start talking.
I wouldn't say one. I think just the whole year was special, just the way it was set up, the way we had a lot of veterans on the team, just a lot of understanding of moments and what it took to get to moments and how to become as a collective. So, it's a lot of moments for us. The first one with BC. That was important to me personally because I wouldn't say the first game was in competition, but this was like conference, kind of see what I was going against and actually perform well. And then the comeback games was important as well. Notably the one Notre Dame and then Arkansas. I think that kind of was key moment games that I enjoyed.
We had those specifically written down to ask you about. So I'll skip all the way ahead here to that Notre Dame game. It was 17-0. You guys came back and won. At the time, it was tied for the biggest comeback in Virginia Tech history. At the time.
Changed a couple games later.
What allowed you guys to get back in that game and ultimately win it?
Just like I stated earlier, when you got guys that don't waver and been in just tough moments, and they believe in the person that is actually have the ball in their hand 100% of the time, and then they believe in each other, and we believe in each other. That's very contagious. And so when you have that on your team and you have those people, it's resilience and understanding that we're never out of a game no matter what.
Was it as cold as it looked?
It was definitely colder, and it's more windy as it obviously on TV you can't see the wind, but
I just looked. I looked at the box score. It said the temperature was in the 30s with winds in the 20s. And I was there, and it was cold.
Yes, I threw a ball and I said, okay, it's going to be one of those games.
Will and I were friends with Mitch, the starting punter from that team, and he said punting, like he could see the ball curve through the air when it was being snapped to him. It was that windy.
It was. I threw if I'm not mistaken, I tried to throw a screen route on the outside, and the wind took it back, almost a fumble. I said, okay, it's going to be one of those games.
Yeah. And of course, we got to ask you about the battle at Bristol, and not so much about the game, but it must be hard to play in that kind of crazy environment. were you able to focus on the game and keep it within the 100-yard field?
Great question. I mean, it would seem like that on the outside looking in. I mean, Lane on Thursday night against Miami was louder than Bristol, just for the simple fact it's the stadium built and how it's inward versus the race car, NASCAR, racetrack is outward. So the screaming, you can hear it, but it's more outward, so it's not as loud. I would say what was different was just all the cameras really on the sideline and just how the tunnel vision from all of that and all of them talking to you. But other than that, it wasn't football.
Yeah. Well, good. Because I always wondered about that.
But it was definitely a scene for sure. Absolutely a spectacle for sure.
Is that one that you'd really like to play over? Because I thought you guys really outplayed them for the most part. You out-schemed them. And if you played them again, I think you probably would have won the game.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Later in the year in particular.
Yeah. I mean, I thought we was ready then. New coach, new quarterback, new system. Second game, well, not second, but close.
No, it was a second
game.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm saying
you played Liberty in the opener.
Liberty to them. Second game of the season, non-conference. See what we have, how we match up, stuff like that. I thought was great into when it comes to little systematic things that we need to fix, or when it is crunch time or it's third and set to situational time, we didn't have that much chemistry, and they did.
Right.
Camaraderie yet. Second game of the season, still figuring things out. So when it came to those moments, they executed better than we did. So I don't think matchups was.
Well, that's a good point, And like I said, later in the season, I remember Hokie fans saying, "Man, I'd like to have that one."
I would love to have that one.
Even the very next week, because after that game, you come back, you shut out Boston College. I think it was 49-zip or something like that. And the East Carolina game was a complete blowout. And then the UNC game, you guys really started rolling right after that. We talked about, you talked about the BC game and, such a big boost of confidence. Talk a little bit about that East Carolina game, specifically that run you had that everybody remembers.
So this whole week, they were just pretty much, we on this high. We're doing these things like you mentioned, 49-0, just doing these incredible things. So coach and some of the veteran players, mostly the veteran players, just speaking on, hey, that's good, but, we haven't beat ECU in such and such time. Let's not take them lightly, etc. So the whole week, I'm like, my mom said, people are like, are you ready? I'm like, yeah, of course. And then so as the game was going along, I just felt like it was going to be a big run. And so I told Brandon Motley, I said, this is the time I'm going to show you what I did in Trinity Valley now. He said, okay, when it happens, I'll see it. When I see it, I'll believe it. I'm like, okay. So I guess that series, that's when it happened. And that's when he came over there. He's like, I told you. He said, yeah, I know. So it's kind of that run was inspired by them, really, is what I'm saying. So it was just let's go and beat them and show them what we're really about. Let's show the nation what we're really about type of run.
You talked about the veterans on that team telling the team, leading up to that game, it's like, okay, we had a pretty good start to the season, but let's keep it going. Justin Fuente has always talked about what a strong leadership group that team has. What was your experience like as a player on that team with so many veterans? Your Sam Rodgers, your John McLaughlin's, your Ken Canham's, guys like that in the locker room.
Just watching it and really absorbing it and observing it. It was just not one person. It was literally multiple people, and this on both sides. So not just their leadership, but their play with their leadership was just an eye-opening experience in how to approach how I play the game, and that I didn't really have to do much but just go do my job. So it just made my job that much easier that I had to be vocal. We had a lot of people on both sides keeping everybody accountable.
So let's take a break and ask another kind of bigger picture question like that. I don't think Virginia Tech fans ever really understood Justin Fuente as a person, and I think they still don't. Because ever since he left here, he's been pretty much invisible. We had him on the podcast one time. He was very open and engaging, but he has a reputation as being an introvert. Players often talked about him walking down the hall and walking right past him, and he's in his football mode, thinking about football, and you have to actually stop him and say hi. What was your relationship like with him? What can you tell us about your impression of him, and how was he with the team? Long pause.
I love to be careful with my words.
Yeah.
I love to be thoughtful in how I think about things and say things because I know my word holds weight. So I would say I can't speak for everybody else and what their thoughts is because that's their thoughts and how they have the interaction with an individual. I would say I would have loved to have a better relationship, coach to quarterback relationship than I have with Coach Beamer and Coach Pry. I would say that. I wish it was just more of a communication and that we can actually just talk and get on the same page on a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And just leave it at that. Everybody has their way of doing things or how they want to operate. Time tell you what is efficient and what isn't, and what works and what doesn't.
Yeah.
So
You got your fair share of strange weather games in 2016. So we talked about the Notre Dame game. What about that UNC game?
Yeah, we had some weird games that year for sure. Most that I've ever been in. Wasn't like a typhoon. Been in that type of weather, pouring down rain. It was just a mental mindset. Who wanted it more? The guys, they were sitting underneath the entrance, like, man, we gotta go out here and play in this. And and the Virginia Tech boys was out there doing drills and warming up and everything. So it's just the mindset and what everybody was ready to go do, which is win and get home.
Interesting. The box score says it was 65 degrees, so it was plenty warm. But
It's pretty warm.
It was
It's
heavy
just
rain.
extremely heavy rain. I mean, I had to bring 2 cleats and it was already soaked in the first quarter.
No kidding.
So, yeah.
Wow. Another game that season that the Tech fans remember fondly was the Pitt game.
Yes.
Because that is actually the only time since 1999 that Virginia Tech has won at Pitt.
Okay.
And I just remember, they play man defense across the board, and it's just, go after them. You've got Bucky Hodges. You've got Isaiah Ford. You got Cam Phillips. Let those guys make a play, right?
Absolutely. I was surprised that he decided to stay in that coverage the whole game.
That's what he does.
Yeah, no. I was told that, and I was looking at it, like the scouting report and Coach Fuente would say that. Mm-hmm. But I was just in my mind, like, he's going to eventually switch it after, you see a couple of plays from Isaiah and Bucky Hodges. No, he stayed in all day, and I'm like, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I remember one of the videos that came out of that game was Fuente coming up to the sideline and telling, I don't remember if it was you or the receivers.
He was talking to the offense.
He was talking to the offense and saying, that's what they do. They're going to be in this coverage the whole time. We just got to keep doing what we do.
Absolutely. And so that's exactly what we did. And, I mean, some coaches do that. I mean, they stick to what they stick to, believe what they believe. But, I mean, that's disrespectful to me to give me man coverage, press man coverage. Like, that's almost saying that I cannot throw, and that's disrespectful. So I like it.
Yeah, and not you had the best single season in Tech history, and you had the 2 leading receivers in Virginia Tech history. It seems like the exact opposite of what you should do against a group of players.
That's
like
what
that.
I would think.
Yep.
But I mean, it is what it is. I'm thankful they decided to keep it that way.
So let me ask you, I don't know how aware players are of this stuff, but do you know what? There may have been other offensive records set, but I'm thinking of one in particular. Tell me an offensive record that was set in that game. It was specifically a receiving record.
Was it Isaiah's?
No,
Do you remember, Chris?
It was all 3 players over 100 receiving
It was
yards.
the first time 3 receivers had over 100 yards receiving in the same game. Yeah. Ford had 143, Hodges had 145, and Cam Phillips had 109 yards receiving.
Did Isaiah have 2 touchdowns in the game?
He had 1. He had 10 catches.
10 catches.
But it's funny, there were only 2 touchdown passes in that game. And you had 24 completions for 406 yards. And,
Wow.
Didn't you come out of that game too?
Yeah.
You were banged up at that point.
I was banged up all year. I mean, running the ball 20 plus times for a quarterback is not ideal.
Yeah.
But that's neither here nor there. But yeah,
Your ankle?
got twisted. Yep. On purpose. They twisted it on purpose.
Did they really?
Yeah. Because I got hurt in Tennessee game, twisted ankle. Been taping it. But, you get scouting reports and, you get people talk. It's a fraternity.
There's a reason these days coaches are very, very hesitant to give away injury information, and that's why.
That's why.
But
They intentionally will do it.
It is a rough game. I don't think your average person understands.
it's
You go out there with a killer mentality, and you'll do
it's
stuff like that.
Gladiator stuff.
Yeah,
yes,
absolutely.
So here's a stat, and I remember looking this stat up back in the day, and then I researched it again this morning. In the first 8 games, you had 21 touchdown passes and 3 touchdown runs, 21 and 3. In the last 6 games, you had 8 touchdown passes and 9 touchdown runs. So there's a shift that occurs where the offense was really behind you as a runner, scoring touchdowns. Did you know, like? What does that bring forth as far as memories go?
In what way? What do you mean by memories?
Was it a shift that you sensed? Were you doing all this despite being hurt? I mean,
Or was it just kind of random?
Absolutely. I noticed the shift the second game. Like it was just more run heavy or options to run heavy. So it was more, if this guy's not open, run this type of like quarterback run. So it's more, I noticed the second game, the shift of it, and it was getting more heavy. But as the season going along, injury happens. Even though I'm banged up, I guess it just relied on me more to get it done, I guess.
The ACC title game against Clemson. You guys were down, I think it was 35-14, and then had that furious comeback to tie it. It had the ball at the end. Fuente always said, I remember him saying in post game, he was asked, if Tech had scored a touchdown on that drive, would you have gone for a 2-point conversion? Well, a 2-point conversion would have won it.
Yes, correct.
Right.
2-point conversion would have won.
Yeah. Is that probably the game that you'd like to redo maybe more than any other, or maybe even that specific drive?
I would say, if anything, I would love to also redo that, but I would like to redo Georgia Tech. But that's
Really? Okay. That's true, because I don't think anybody saw that one coming.
It was in Syracuse. Them the two I probably personally want, like, true redos. I mean, Clemson, I could speak on it, what I felt, but that's just my opinion. But Clemson, I definitely won over. I think we started like knowing that we belong in that type of environment, that situation, that setting, with those things around Clemson. Like, I don't think we ever, me personally, because that was our first year together, felt like we've been in that type of environment with those notable people that's been together multiple years.
Right.
That's a different Williams over there for 2-3 years with Deshaun that's back to back, going to or had a national championship prior year, having that experience. So that is a different animal. Plus, Dabo is one hell of a coach with his defense coordinator at the time, who's now the Oklahoma head coach.
Venables.
Crazy mind. Studies tendencies extremely well. So knowing our rhythm as players, understanding the moment situation, I think we would have, if we had what we did on the run at the beginning of the game, outcome is different.
Well, you brought up those other 2 games against Syracuse and Georgia Tech. And
So before, let me jump in here and say, so the 3 games leading up to Syracuse, I just ran the numbers. You guys outscored 3 opponents 137-20. Whoa. So you blew out BC, you blew out 49-0, you blew out East Carolina 54-17. Then you beat North Carolina 34-3 in the Hurricane game.
Yeah.
So you're going up to Syracuse the next week, and everybody's like, oh, yeah, they're finally going to go up there and win in the Dome. And
then it's just like that at 17-0 Syracuse. So what's your take? What happened that day?
It was just, I'll say what was thought. I mean, I mean, we never done it. 6-6, 3 years prior to this. Now we on a roll. We're doing what we expected us to do. Now it's more since it's an expectation of, okay, we knew we were supposed to do this. It's almost, I felt it's Syracuse. We're going up here. They're where they're at, etc. So that's what I felt in the beginning of the game. And then we try to play catch up or try to play the we shouldn't be down game. So now we're pressing. I know for sure I try to press a little bit. Hence, that's why I threw a pick across the middle. And the fumble was just perfect head on the ball, so, but it cost the team. So I just think we started pressing once we knew that we needed to get it going instead of actually just coming in there and, handle the business like we're supposed to.
Was it odd playing in the dome?
Yeah, I was going to ask that.
Because Tech does not play well up there ever.
It was definitely odd because it was so few of fans, yet so loud.
Right.
And I just couldn't figure it out.
So wait, go ahead, Jerod.
Yeah, it was just so baffling, I'm looking, I'm like, it can't be this loud. I'm over here going to the line.
The attendance was listed at 33,800.
Yeah, so exactly, but it was louder than Lane in a way, like in the sense of echoing.
Yeah.
So it's like annoying. So I'm getting told by Gallo, hey, I can't hear you. I'm like, I'm yelling, dude. Trust me. So it's just the coming on third downs of having to communicate. So they was fitting off the energy of the crowd. We was, giving them things to make them feel, a part of the game. So you do that to anybody on any given, week. That's game.
Yeah.
It also has a reputation for being a really hot place to play.
It was humid.
Yeah.
That was also baffling to me as well.
It's ironic that when they were the Carrier Dome, which produces air conditionings, they had no air conditioning.
And I think that was very...
Right.
Yes.
And now they have air conditioning in there, but it's not the Carrier Dome anymore.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Strange.
Yeah.
Is it still the JMA wireless dome or something like that?
Yeah. It was just
odd atmosphere.
Altogether.
Yeah.
Altogether.
Is it? Forgive me if this is a stupid question. Is a lot of what you guys ran that year, was it one read and run for you, or did you do a lot of progressions? What's your memory of that?
Yeah, I think my memory is more majority one read progressions and me running, or some type of motion jet sweep, or some type of screen, or some type of RPO off of that. I mean, it was majority for sure one read or something gimmicky to window dress a lot of things to get to one guy.
Right. Okay. So it wasn't a dumb question.
The other big comeback that year, which broke the previous record that you'd set just a month or two before, the Belk Ball. Obviously, it's one thing to come back from 17-0, 24-0 at halftime seems like a stretch. I think everybody thought you guys were better than Arkansas going into that, so they were surprised at the halftime score. What changed at halftime, and what was said? Was it just simply a matter of focus and execution?
Sam Rodgers is a bad man. He's a bad man. I mean, it's a lot of great leaders on that team, but, when Sam talks, you listen, type of feel. He said it a lot, but he said it passionately, and again, the underclassmen wanted to do it for the upperclassmen. They put so much blood, sweat, and tears into this organization, this institution, and wanted them to go out with a bang. And when he was speaking with passion, but it was just hitting everybody, letting us know that, like, we didn't come here for just nothing, just everybody understood the message. And so just riled everybody up, and it was like, we're not leaving. Y'all know Denzel Washington with Jamie Foxx. I'm not leaving here with something. I'm leaving here with something. It's kind of like that mentality. Like, we leaving here with this win. So it was a great feel. I think that was a turnaround, and everybody just, it's time to go.
He picked that game 35-24, but they didn't get there exactly how it was.
No. Wow.
No, I know these guys. I know Chris has heard this story, Carter. I'm not sure you heard it, but yeah, I picked 35-24. It's 24-0 at halftime. And I got on Twitter and I was like, well, it's 24-0. I picked Tech to win 35-24. You know what's going to have to happen from here.
And it did.
So after the game, I quote tweeted and said, yes, I actually said that.
That's crazy.
I hope you bought a lottery ticket that night, Will.
Oh, man.
I hope you went to the store and bought a lottery
What
ticket.
made you pick that? Like,
Every game we do a game preview and our predictions. And
Okay.
so we just pick a final score.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to be fair, Arkansas had a reputation that year for losing leads. So
I heard.
even 24-0 wasn't completely out of it.
I would agree.
Yeah.
They did have a reputation that year of that.
And you could see it like
You could see it. You definitely could see it. You could see it. Absolutely.
because the defense started making some plays and
see
getting
it.
some
You could feel it,
turnovers.
too.
So like as soon as you guys scored in the second half,
Well, it was just that was more like, okay, that's what we're used to. Like when we scored, it's like offense or defense was like, okay, this is what we're accustomed to. Offense is like, okay, now let's calm down. That was the first drive. Let's keep it going now.
and Arkansas was maybe here we go again.
Well, no, it was like, okay, that was one drive.
Right.
Now after the second one, after the pick, I think from Maine,
Yes.
that was like, oh, here we go. Like, and then it just snowballed.
Snowballed, yep.
I just remember that game too. Didn't Arkansas have somebody like spit on a Tech player or something and he got thrown out of the game in the second half?
I want to. I
rings
don't
a
remember
bell.
that. I don't remember that fondly just because I was on the sideline trying to look at the next series.
Yeah.
But when I looked up, I saw a big altercation. I didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were talking about them folding. That's a perfect example.
absolutely
lose your
Spit on a guy in the second half.
Absolutely.
There you go.
Absolutely.
So who were you tight with on that team during that year? Was there anybody that was your guy? And it can be more than one person.
Well, I'm not more of a social guy like that. But the guys I did hang out with, obviously, is my wide receivers. Hung out with them the most. Hung out with Wyatt a lot. Wyatt Teller, that's my guy. I hung out with the O-line a lot. After wins, they want to hang out with me, so hung out with them a lot.
Yeah.
Great guys. But in particular, just not really just anybody in particular, but kind of in their own environment. Kind of enjoyed them in their own environment and got a piece of how they operated.
Have you ever actually? Well, I guess you do now that he's in the NFL. But during a game, you can't watch Wyatt Teller block, of course, because you're the quarterback and you got to run the play. But when you're in there watching film on Sunday and just see you, it was pretty obvious he was going to be an NFL guy, right?
Got a great story. Great story. Okay, so obviously new here, don't know anybody from Adam and Eve. Guys introducing themselves, throwing their like names at me. It's a million of them. It's all like, okay. So long story short, we're going through all spring training, et cetera, et cetera. And for some reason, Coach Fuente is just hard on Wyatt. I don't know, like, no names quite well. I'm like, why is he on this guy so much? I mean, just on him a lot. So I remember finally BC game, he was not starting.
Yeah, that's right.
But should have been starting. Should have.
Right.
Okay. And he took it like such a professional. I'm like, okay, that already right there, I was like, okay, that's crazy. And when he finally got in after, we were blowing him out, he says, Jerod, I'm going to show you why I'm the starter, and this is why I'm going to protect you. I kid you not, he pulled and, killed somebody, came to the side. I was on the sideline looking because he said, look. He said, I told you this is what I'm going to do all season. I said, love you already, buddy. Love you already. And ever since then, he just took a liking to me. I don't know why, but just he loved me like a brother. So he hung out on spring breaks, lake house, met his family. Great guy.
Still keep in touch?
Here and there. I'm working on building connections. My flaw is when things used to go, kind of like take a step back. So here and there. Last time I texted him about a month ago. But yeah, definitely great guy.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Did you go fishing with him?
Did not go. Went skiing with him.
Huh.
Okay.
Skiing.
Yeah.
At his family lake house.
You never took you alligator hunting. Did you see that?
I told him I would never do something. That would never be on my list, but he's definitely one of those guys. Yeah. He's a great guy.
So that kind of segues into the question of who do you keep in touch with from that era? Is it anybody? You made kind of a passing mention of rebuilding some relationships. What's your status with the guys that played back then?
Well, me and Isaiah is great. I mean, we had classes together. So I was in Japan. I was playing over there a little bit. And I'm finishing up summer classes. We had the same summer classes, keeping up there. Count Phillips obviously on the staff, so just got through talking with him yesterday.
Yeah.
Not too much with Bucky yet. Bucky got a whole family, moving on differently. So that talked to John, Big John.
McLaughlin?
Yes, McLaughlin. I call him Big John. And the other guys here and there through social media, but those guys lately I've been trying to build with.
So how close are you to finishing out your degree? Is it this semester, next semester?
This semester. I finish in May.
Nice.
Yep.
What do you want to do with that? Like, what kind of job do you see yourself working one day?
Now, thousands of people are going to watch this, so this is your elevator pitch for why you should hire Jerod.
Great. Well, no, but seriously, I've been praying on it. I seriously don't know. I still have a love for the game. I've been playing in Japan. I have a 3-year working visa, actually negotiating talks right now, not going as I planned. They want my intellectual property more than I actually want to give. So that's kind of rocky right now. And also finish up my degree and been around the football team as often as I can now. I don't know how that can possibly help in that avenue there. Obviously, like I said, I still want to play, so possibly get opportunity here. Still working now, still doing what I need to do. Possibly get opportunity here. My motivation really is, Kurt Warner and Warren Moon have the ages and still having the opportunity and still producing at a high level. So in the all the way around question about what I want to do in my career, I generally do not know yet. I do know I need the piece of paper in order to validate to others that I am capable.
A guy who can finish things. Yeah.
Of doing things and doing it. Yes. Even when it's hard. So again, I don't know. But I'm staying ready for whatever opportunity presents itself, so I don't have to get ready.
You spent some time with the Packers, and I know he was hurt at the time you were there, but what was it like being in the same room as Aaron Rodgers? And that's a Hall of Famer and obviously Absolutely. A very unique person.
Unique is a great word. Mm-hmm. Very great word. I like that. Shout out Aaron Rodgers. Seriously.
He'll be watching, so.
Hey, you never know. He taught me a lot, both mentally and also physically, certain things to do. Coming off the season I had running like 204 times and having that amount of punishment on my body, really, I played through impingement in my right shoulder the whole year after the third game. And so it was just very struggle how to properly use technique. So he showed me how to use my feet. When I was on the sideline, I know they have a video of it or pictures of it because he was hurt at the time, something with his collarbone. Mm-hmm. Just showing me the game, teaching me the game, showing the sign languages of tendencies of what certain defense coordinator do. I mean, been in the game, 15 plus years. He knows it like the back of his hand. So it was a great experience. Showed me how to also articulate with management. I mean, just a lot of little things that as a young 24-year-old kid that you think you might know just by observing how he approaches things, how he handles things is a different approach, and you can see why he is who he is.
Mm-hmm. Now, wait
a minute. Let me jump in here. I just wanted to let everybody know that Jerod's got receipts. It was 204 carries in that 2016 season.
Oh, I definitely have receipts. I've been, yes.
And Trayvon McMillian had 145 carries, and Sam Rogers with 67 was next. So you were carrying the load.
Carrying the load.
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt, Chris.
So, besides get an experience with Aaron Rodgers, your professional career has taken you to some interesting places. What's it like, going overseas to places like Japan or even Hungary? I bet most people don't even realize that they play American football in Hungary. So what's it like going over there and like, what's the atmosphere like over there for games?
So in I guess Hungary, I wasn't there long enough. I like to use the analogy of a man wanting a fine woman, but doesn't know once he gets the fine woman, the things it takes to keep up with the fine woman, but promising the world to the fine woman, but not able. So that's kind of my experience in Hungary.
I don't even know what that means.
Pretty much is, somebody that can, or pursuing somebody that's so, like, at the time that think they're in the league, but not. So there was promising things, but not actually keeping the end of the bargain up. I'll say like that.
Right. I got you.
I see.
If that makes
Yeah, I got you.
we
Okay. I see. I see.
that's my time in Hungary.
So you're not going back to Hungary anytime soon?
Absolutely. Mutually parted ways.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Hungary. Still love, seriously.
Again, they're watching. So
Well, I have friends that that actually plays for them.
okay.
He knows the situation. Okay. Japan, on the other hand, great culture. Very clean. Very helpful. Atmosphere of football growing. Strong interest in it. Just not knowledgeable of it. Hence, that's why negotiations is not going too well. They are very smart, so they wanted to they want to culturalize that more like CFL, but more of how they want to.
Right.
So put their touch on it. But the third most popular football league in the world, so they're definitely growing, and it's just one of those things that is just different. I mean, if you have a family, it's going to be different. Luckily single, I have no spouse, nobody. So just to be able to experience that and still understand culture plus play football and teach them the game is a great experience. And they're more athletic than people know. So they're only getting better for sure.
For sure.
So many questions, man. So how long have you been there?
2 years.
How much Japanese do you speak?
Choto.
How many of the players in the league are actually Japanese? Any of them? Or are they all American imports or what?
So they went from four, they call it foreigners, so imports, to actually only 3 now. So for multiple reasons, won't get into detail, but mostly to grow their players, as to see how strong they are to each other. I mean, I believe that their team just beat our USA team. I know that's totally like, yeah, trust me, I know. But still, to them, that's a stepping stone. Like that's published everywhere over there.
So what you're saying is they only allow a limited number of foreign players on each team?
It's just like the basketball rules and soccer rules for leagues.
Absolutely. So each team has only a certain amount of foreigners or import players.
Because they want to develop their own talent. They want to win, but they also want to develop their own talent.
Okay.
Yeah. So, because if you football will never grow in Japan if they just signed an entire team full of Americans.
Absolutely.
The fans have to have people to relate with. Right.
Yes. Like in Mexico or anything, that's more because they already have a feel of the game in general. Their culture just is totally different. Like it's kind of do it their way, and so in order for them to feel comfortable.
Yeah, exactly.
That makes sense.
So it's something that normally only basketball players and soccer players get to experience, is like going to other countries and playing their sport. And I think there's a lot to be said for if you're able to spend part of your career playing overseas. It gives you a new perspective on a lot of things.
Oh, absolutely. Like in the ELF, when I played those games, I went a couple of places. Like I played a couple of games, just decided it wasn't, like I said, mutually agreed to part ways. So the couple of games going to see these different type of countries in Europe was definitely a great experience, even though it was short-lived.
Sure.
So one thing I want to ask you, and this is going backwards a little bit, but I want to clarify it and get it out there.
Okay.
When you came to Virginia Tech, I've read an interview that Ricky LeBlue did with you, where you made the coaches aware when you got here it was your plan to be one and done.
Absolutely.
So that's correct. Let's put that out there.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I've told multiple. He was not the only one I told that to.
But there's a lot of people that still don't know. So,
Absolutely. No. I'm saying Coach Fuente was not the only person I told that to. I told that to Coach Sonny Dykes. I told that to Charlie Strong. I wasn't talking to Charlie Strong, but I had somebody, the tight ends coach at the time, talking to Coach Strong. Like, my goal is to be like Cam Newton, is literally be one and done.
Yeah.
And so that was my whole attention wherever I went. And it just so happened that Virginia Tech kind of fitted that mold, and just the pieces of kind of what I needed in order to achieve that goal. And then it became something special after I had picked the school that best fit what I was trying to actually accomplish.
Now, all that said, when the season was over, I'm sure they tried to change your mind and get you to stay, right? Because there was a lot of talent.
No. Yes and no. In a way that I wasn't fond of. So when I told Coach after the game, he was the only person that I told that I was actually declaring. So when the reports came out, I kind of knew who was already leaking these things, because right. I didn't tell my father, I didn't tell my mother, I didn't tell nobody, and it was purposely done. It was strategically done because I wanted to see if he's actually on my side and listen to things I said, or it was just his way or the highway type of thing. So I told him, and I kind of wanted certain things to be different the following year that I wanted to see. I wanted to see certain changes that year, but since it didn't happen, the following year, and I didn't think he was going to listen to him. So he had everybody come talk to me, like Whitcock, and my offensive coordinator from junior college. I don't know what that would have been like, but it was just the ordeal that I wanted him to specifically talk to me about certain things. Yeah. And I don't think that would have, I don't know what his view was, but I don't think it would have been good. So I just kind of deaded it and just said, no matter what, I'm declaring, no matter what changes or what is said, because I can't do another year of this.
Yeah, I'm guessing specifically it was the issue of how many times you ran the football.
Absolutely.
That was the thing, yeah.
Absolutely. I would not be able to sustain that amount. I was already banged up 4 games to the season, and I was pushing through that. I was only practicing, as the season went, 2 practices, maybe 1. Yeah. So it was only getting worse.
So if I understand what you're saying, any considerations towards coming back for 2017 were short-circuited by your feeling that running it that much would probably happen again.
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
Absolutely. And we had too many weapons to have that done. Yeah. I mean, before I came there, we had 2, I believe, 1,000-yard rusher in McMillan.
Yes.
If I'm not mistaken.
That's correct.
And I don't see somebody rushing for 1,000 yards and all of a sudden lose their power to a talent to go get that again. Now, for whatever reasons, that's out of my control or my knowledge. Yeah. But stuff like that, getting 3-headed monster that I had the opportunity to throw into, more involved, stuff like, just little stuff like that. And I just don't think it was being heard out in one area, out the other. Yeah. So as the season approached and we did what we came to accomplish, which is win that game in the Belk Bowl, I just didn't see no other reason to. I saw no other reason that it would be fixed. I wanted to leave on a good note versus possibly, you never know the outcome of another year in that situation.
Well, I appreciate you being honest about that.
Yeah.
Do you see any similarities between you and Kyron Drones? You're both big, mobile guys from Texas, right?
Yeah.
Same size almost.
Almost, yeah. I actually just saw him for the first time this week, so I haven't seen too much of him, but what I see, I like. Seemed like a cool, calm, collected-headed guy. Not too high, not too low. So that's always a great quality, especially in this day and age with media, social media, and all the things that you can see and you can, you know, get
His
your hands on.
expression doesn't change very much when he was.
Exactly.
You can look at his face and you can't tell if something's going great or something's going bad.
And that's,
So,
that's a great quality.
Yeah.
And I just a little bit about his. I haven't seen his game too much. I mean, practice haven't really been amped up yet to even give a valuation on that.
NIL.
Tell me about it. Tell me about it.
Gosh, you know, there's the general question, then there's a specific question. Gosh, I know a question the fans are going to want us to ask is, let's say NIL existed back then, and Virginia Tech came to you and said, listen, we've got enough NIL money that we can pay you like $1 million to come back for 2017, maybe $1.5 million. Will you come back? What do you think you would have done?
Absolutely stayed.
You would say, yeah, I'll run 250 times. Yeah, I'll run 250 times.
You heard it here
Everybody's
first.
got a price.
No, but seriously, I would have stayed. Just in that era, I would have stayed because of the guys. Seriously, and I knew what we wanted to accomplish the next year. We were just getting started. So, but definitely that doesn't hurt at all. Like now, I look at it different. Like now, it's more of a okay. I can have fun, and I'm getting compensated for having fun with my fellow teammates versus have to deal with possible strongholds on certain situations. So yeah, that's definitely would have been a difference. Plus, seeing a $5 million bonus come in after ACC championship game for the head boss doesn't hurt to see what I would have made. You know, what I contribute to that. So absolutely.
So have you been made aware of the specifics of the House settlement and the fact that there is $2.7 billion, if I remember the number correctly, earmarked for players from the past? And this is money that you as a past player can apply for. Has anybody contacted you and explained all that to you?
There's a certain limit for how long ago did you play?
It's like 10 years.
Is it 10 years?
He might be in that window.
Okay.
I'm
not
sorry I
sure.
didn't do the research ahead of
I
time.
actually am, but I don't know too much about it. The person that told me was Isaiah.
Okay.
So he mentioned he gave me the
Okay,
information
same
about
area,
it,
yeah.
and he just told me to sign up for it, and that's exactly what I did. I don't know what's going to come out of it. Hopefully, something pretty nice. But you know how that goes. There's a lot of student athletes, a lot of sports, etc. They're in that 10-year decade period. So who knows?
And I have no idea how they're going to decide to
That's why I
dole
said,
that
who
stuff
knows?
out.
So I'm not giving my hopes up on it.
You're not going to budget around it. It'd be a nice bonus. Yeah.
But that said, if you get a $5,000 check in the mail, well, that's
absolutely.
cool.
That's nobody's going to complain about that. But I'm not holding my head over that or expecting that.
Yeah.
But it'd be cool to know that they are trying to compensate. It's funny how generations grow. Because I don't know if you guys know Devin Wilson, former.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You
Yeah.
know, okay.
Basketball player, wide receiver.
Absolutely. Well, I'm rooming with him right now.
Okay.
And so he give me kind of like insights on a certain thing. I'm like, man, imagine. He said, and he told me the same thing. Imagine if NIL was around when you was playing. I said, man, I know, but it's a dangerous game to play. I think personally, but I have my own opinions on that too.
Yeah.
You would have had a lot of money thrown at you after the, and I'm not even talking Virginia Tech. I'll bet the SEC would have come out to you for like $2 or $3 million.
Well,
or
nobody knows this, but they was before.
they were coming after you anyway.
Yes, absolutely. A&M lost Kyler Murray and Kyle Allen that year, and the transfer they both transferred, and they literally so they didn't contact me directly. The booster contacted my friend's dad, my dad's friend, and told him just name an amount. And so this was the day after my last day of my official visit with Coach Fuente, and I'll never forget it. He said, "Remember, we're married now." And after that, as in like you committed now, even though I haven't signed the papers yet, I'm like, my word is my bond. Literally an hour after that, my dad told me the news. I said, I'm sticking with Virginia Tech. And my dad was almost, he probably, if he see this, oh well, he like, I can actually move this somewhere else right now. I'm like, no, it's good.
A man of principle. So
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think a lot of people realize that stuff was going on even before NIL.
Absolutely. It just, I don't want to get into it, but
Yeah.
big corporation could get kind of greedy. So now it's more a little exposure of certain things that they do. It's more like have to do.
Right.
Yeah,
absolutely. And people say it's NIL. Really what it is, it's the open-ended transfer rules that are causing the mass play.
mayhem.
Yeah, exactly.
I would agree.
Yeah.
Not the actual stability of the money.
Right.
Absolutely.
It's been an hour.
It has been an hour, and that's the end of the stuff I wanted to talk about, man. This has been great. I want to put in a quick pitch for the Hokie Way. Their auction is starting on April 1st. Registration for the auction is open now at thehokieway.org. And there's going to be over 100 items and experiences that you can bid on. And of course, all of the proceeds from this auction go to support Hokies NIL, and the auction runs April 1st through April 15th. So go to thehokieway.org, pre-register. And Jerod, we appreciate you coming in. Carter, you got anything you want to ask before we let him go?
No, I appreciate you coming in. This is a whole lot of fun. So you guys were talking about all that stuff with A&M, and it's like, well, look in college basketball right now, the conversation with Will Wade getting hired at NC State, Look at what he got into hot water for at LSU.
Right.
Go Pack. They're going to be back in the NCAA tournament next year. So anyway, Jerod, I appreciate your time. We appreciate your time. For Nick Brown, Jerod Evans, Chris Coleman, Will Stewart, I'm Carter Hill saying so long from episode 415 of the Tech Sideline Podcast, and we'll talk to you very soon.